Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share with you some products that I purchased while I was away for the holidays and how they've transformed my everyday makeup style and makeup look just to make me feel my most authentic, most beautiful self. Without further hesitation, let's get right into this video. Get started with complexion makeup. A big part of some of my favorite products that I've started the year off with is sunscreen. I always use my sunscreen, but I've been using things that I can replace traditional complexion makeup products like foundation with. For my face, I start off with 2 layers of the Ultra Violette Clean Screen SPF 30. This is okay, but it doesn't really give a lot of coverage, but it leaves a really nice, smooth, satin matte finish on the face. And then on my neck, the Naked Sunday Cabana Clear Water Gel Lotion SPF 50. It is white writing on this metallic silver. And I forgot to bring the other sunscreen I have on, but I will put a picture here on the screen. e.l.f. Whoa Glow. It's in the shade Sunlight. It's the lightest shade, and that is on my neck. I use that as almost like a complexion corrector for my neck and my chest, just to harmonize it with my face. For my face as my foundation product, I am absolutely in love with the RMS Super Natural Radiance Serum SPF 30, and I have the shade Light Aura. This is a product I've had my on for quite a while, but it's not available here in Canada. Here in Canada, we have a thing called Health Canada, which is kind of like the FDA. They are really strict with some of the sunscreen products that we can and can't have. So a lot of times, a new sunscreen that is released in the US or somewhere else, it might take a really long time to get to Canada. This has a 20% non-nano zinc oxide as the sunscreen filter, and it is beautiful. I already have 2 layers of the ultraviolet sunscreen on, and that technically is enough sunscreen protection for me for every day. But I like a little bit of tone correction, and I like a little bit more coverage. During the day, I don't like a full-on like House Labs level coverage. Something like my Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Tint is one of my favorite complexion products, but shade 3 is sold out and it's very expensive to get here in Canada. I am trying to find something to use and save my Lisa Eldridge for days I have to go to work or things like that, just because it is so pricey, but it looks so beautiful on the skin. So that's what led me to try this RMS product out, and I have to say, I think this is going to be my day-to-day complexion product when I don't want to use my Lisa Eldridge. Now, most days I will do what I'm going to do today, so I will apply this all over, then I will go over top of this and conceal and set with a powder foundation. So that way I have a pretty solid medium coverage all over, but this just gives a really nice, smooth glow to the skin. My only concern with the RMS Supernatural Radiance Serum for the warmer summer months when it's very humid, this might be a little too heavy, so I might need to find something a little bit more lightweight to wear on the SM, or else I just don't want to be out and overheat. Now that I have that on, I'm gonna apply a little bit of a lip. Finally purchased one of the Naturium Phyto-Glow lip balms, and this is in the shade Petal. I don't know if these are available only online here in Canada, but I haven't seen these in store. You can get some of the Naturium products now at Shoppers Drug Mart. This lip balm is really, really pretty, but for me, it's a little too thick to use as my one and done lip product. I like something a little bit thinner on the lips, but for around the home, when I want a little bit of color, but I don't want to put like a lipstick or a lip tint on, this is really pretty. And when I drove home from visiting my family, this was kind of like my in-car lip product, and it was beautiful. I have seen some people compare this to the Summer Fridays lip balm. I have the shade, I think it's called Pink Sugar in my handbag as like my everyday lip balm because it's very thin. It's much thinner on the lips than this. This is almost somewhere between the Summer Fridays lip balm and the Laneige lip, I think it's called Lip Glowy Balm. This is kind of right in between, and I prefer this over the Laneige. For my concealing, I'm still using my Huda Beauty FauxFilter. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Peach. I use this right around my mouth where I have shadowing. And this is something that I cannot wait to share more with all of you in the coming up year. As you all know, I started almost 2 years ago now this journey of just becoming my most authentic self and doing the things that I wanted to do that I was too scared to do. And part of that is my journey transitioning. I don't think I've ever said those words on YouTube before, and I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I'm ashamed. I'm here, I present myself to whoever watches my videos, and I have no shame. I love who I am. I love how confident finally embracing my true self has made me feel. The anxiety, the worry has all gone away. That is something that when I finally began presenting as who I always have been on the inside last year publicly, it changed everything. My confidence, my happiness just went through the roof. I've not really shared in words what's going on. I mean, I feel like all of you have some sort of idea, and you've been so sweet. Last year, I made public that I changed my name. Zach or Zachary, which is my full name, just didn't suit me any longer, but that name is so special to me because that's the name my mom gave me. And when it came to choosing a name, I wanted to have the conversation with my mother and come up with a name that she was still happy with because she gave me my name. I wanted her to give me my name again. So we tried some different things. It's very difficult finding a feminine name with the letter Z that felt like it sat with me. There was a lot of very beautiful names that just, I didn't feel like suited me. When we came up with the name that suited me, that we both liked, it was just like, this makes so much sense. Z is just so much easier and I love it. With this journey, I've had to alter my makeup styles and I spent a lot of time on YouTube looking for things. And it's kind of like my same thing I ran into with seasonal color when I started creating seasonal color content. There was content out there, but there wasn't content that I found the most helpful. And I found a gap that I felt like I could contribute to. Going into the new year, I want to share more stuff to help people who are going through the same journey that I am, that need help with resources, because not all of us want to do this very elaborate full glam makeup, but we still feel like we need to alter our more traditionally masculine features just to look a little bit more softer, a little bit more feminine, to help us feel more comfortable in our own body. And that's something that I feel like anyone who wants just to make themselves look the most beautiful and most pretty to suit the way they feel, anyone take away. So it's not alienating people or just targeting one group of people. It's something that can have a very universal approach. Now I'm going to go through and use my Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. This is the shade 16N, and I have been using this in a very interesting way over the last year. So right over top, I said the last year, the last few weeks, I use this right over top of my color corrector. And this is a little bit lighter, a little bit more yellow than my surrounding complexion color. So what I do is I dot it where I want it, and then I go back and I use the third shade I have in the Huda Beauty FauxFilter color corrector, Pink Pomelo, and I use this to fill in the gaps because this sits between Peach, which is what I used in around my mouth, and then Cherry Blossom, which is what I used under my eyes. So I will fill in the gaps and create my own tone that will help brighten and color correct, but just make things feel a little bit more harmonious. And then I blend everything out with the same brush. So this brush now has residual product from the color corrector, the tinted sunscreen, and these concealers. So everything is just going to blend and meld so easily. Leading up to leaving for Christmas was so challenging because my mom and I and my family and I, we had talked about so many different facets of what's going on. And you know, my family, like all of you, we all have eyes, we all can see changes going on, but it's something I felt like I needed to point blank tell them what was going on, because, you know, if one of the steps coming up in the future, maybe something like that would throw them off, and I didn't want them to feel like something came out of left field. A lot of this is just like, oh, it's, you know, you're being you, you're doing the things that you've always loved. This just makes sense. And then I would say the month leading up to the trip, I kept agonizing. It started off as something very internal. It was very like, oh no, how am I gonna have this conversation? What if they react poorly? What if all these extreme, very negative situations were going through my mind? It was just, I was hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, but I was far too focused on the worst. The week before we left, I started experiencing computer issues. I would upload my videos to my external hard drive, then import them to my MacBook. It would just crash. iMovie would crash. Everything would get bogged down. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Then I had to upgrade the computer situation. And that's never fun. Things have just gotten so expensive. And then turns out the whole reason everything's going wrong is because I am recording in 4K and the file size is a lot bigger. So I didn't even have to buy a new computer. I just needed to split the larger video into smaller segments. So stop and then restart the video going forward. That never ever occurred to me. So ended up not needing the new computer, just had to alter the things I was doing. That was adding to this like agonizing stress I was feeling from having to have this conversation with my family, because I thought it wasn't going to go well. Sorry, we got cut off. My alarm was going off. So I'm using the WESTMAN ATELIER Baby Cheeks Blush Stick in the shade Dodo. This is a product that one of my friends gave me for Christmas, and it is so beautiful. I believe it's described as a warm rose or a warm pink online, but I find it's more neutral and it is so pretty. Something else I've really been dabbling into as I've become more comfortable with myself, as I've began playing with different colors and clothing, I have been playing with more warmth. Thankfully, my seasonal color palette is a cool neutral, so I can tiptoe into some more warmth. This is something I would love to talk about more in another video. I found that if I go too cool toned with my hair color, and especially like over the last year, finally embracing like alternative hair solutions like my wigs, I don't suit super cool toned hair shades. It makes my face look very ruddy, but if I go too warm, I look very sallow. So I suit those really neutral hair colors with either a fraction of warmth or a fraction of coolness. Better yet, if I have a blend of like a neutral base with a little bit of warmth and a little bit of a cooler tone, that suits me really, really well. Now that I have all of my creams on, I'm gonna use a little bit of my LA Girl Brightening powder. This is the shade Soft Pink, and I'm gonna apply this with my Real Techniques blush brush. I always like to do a loose set through my blush area and my color corrector area, because since I set with more of a pinky tone, or sorry, I corrected with more of a pink tone, I like to set with a more pink tone just to start. And this powder is a very close match for my nail color. Finally purchased Essie's classic nail polish shade BG. I've wanted this shade forever and I just never purchased it. I found it on sale 50% off for Black Friday, had it sent to my parents, and now I have it. It's just a really nice cool toned light pink. It's almost like Essie's ballet slippers, but more pink than that milky pink white shade. Now I'm going to use a little bit of my One Size Beauty Turn of the Base Versatile Powder Foundation, the shade Fair 3 In, and I am going to use this just to set the rest of my face, add a little bit of coverage, and this is going to complete my coverage portion. Trying to go to bed and sleep once I finally got to my parents, took a shower, all that. It was after midnight. I think it was going on almost 2 in the morning. I was laying in bed agonizing. I was like, what are my family going to say? Am I going to do this right before Christmas? What do I do? So got a little bit of sleep, got up, got ready, and I just put myself together the way I would put myself together if I was here. And I walked downstairs and my mom was like, morning, and we hugged, and she's like, you look so pretty. And I'm like, thank you. And it just like, she's like, are you gonna cry? And I'm like, yes. So I just, off the bat, the first morning, the first time saying hello to my mother since June, July in person, I got weepy-eyed and I started crying, and my mom's like, well, I missed you too. She's like, is everything okay? Is something going on? I was like, I need to have this talk with you. I'm really nervous. So I was like, I wasn't talking with everyone all at the same time, but I'm just gonna talk to you. And then she's like, okay. And then I was like, do you want to go to Starbucks? So we ended up getting in the car. We went to Starbucks together and we talked. And I told my mom, I told her that just everything. I told her about how I was feeling, how long I've been feeling it, the different steps I've made. Finally, that, I am going through the process of transitioning. And my mom's like, I know. And I'm like, did someone tell you? Did my husband tell you? And she's like, no. She's like, I have eyes. I talk to you. You tell me about like different things. I see different things on social media. And she's like, I assume that's what you're doing. And she's like, I know it's a big deal, but I didn't think it was a big deal. I just figured this was just the second part of your journey. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And at this point we had pulled over so I could put together the mobile order on my phone. And again, got weepy-eyed, this time in a Walmart parking lot. Oh, by the way, I'm applying the RMS Redimension Hydro Dew Luminizer and Prosecco Fizz with the RMS highlighting brush. That again made me get weepy-eyed. She's like, I know. She's like, we've talked about it. And she's like, me, your father, your brothers, your grandparents, we all know what's going on. And this is just very much part of your journey. There's no one's upset, no one's mad. Some people might not understand all the details why, but we know it's part of your journey. And we just want you to do everything in a safe way that makes you feel happy with who you are. It was one of the best conversations I've had. And getting that conversation out of the way, I got home, casually talked to the rest of my family. It was very casual once again. And it was just like, okay, cool. This is what we thought was going on. And it makes sense. As long as you're happy, as long as you're taking care of yourself, we're happy for you. The other thing that we talked about is a lot of my family, even my mom, even after we talked about the name change, still used Zach, or my brother still called me bro. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. This is a change for you too. I don't ever want to be one of those people who, as soon as this change enacts, attacks someone else for using the wrong pronoun or the wrong name. It's a process. It's a change. And everyone around you needs time to adjust. So just give people the grace that you want to give. And I felt like that just made everything go by so much easier. And this ended up being the best trip back home I've had in such a long time. To now we're almost like, maybe we should up from once, twice a year to like a quarterly trip. Oh my goodness. Spending time with my niece was like the reset for my soul that I never knew I needed. Next, I'm going to use one of my new RMS blushers. This is the RMS Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in the shade Pomegranate Fizz. And this is a little bit more intense, and it's more of a warm berry pink, and just a little bit with a large fluffy brush adds a nice chilly flush to the cheeks. Got to hurry up and finish this. I've got a meeting starting in 20 minutes. So I'm going to use another Black Friday Amazon purchase. This time, this is from CLIO. This is the CLIO Grow Eye Palette Air in number 10 Season Plum. Looks like this. I was a big fan of the previous CLIO Pro Eye palettes, so when this was on sale, I had to try it. I am going to start off with this light neutral pink using my little tabletop mirror to look down into. This is the same way I would do my eye makeup on an everyday basis. I want my eyes to feel very pretty, very fresh, very feminine, but I don't want overly complicated. There was a period early last year, not even early last year, like late summer, early autumn, where it was just doing the most every time I got ready. And I had so much fun, but I quickly burnt out on taking 2 hours to go to the grocery store. store. I mean, and it's not because I felt like I had to do these things, it's because I wanted to do these things. Now I'm gonna go into this matte pink and I'm gonna apply this right over my lid. I got very comfortable with trying new iterations of styles I've previously worn. It was a fun reset that, you know, I didn't know that I needed. I found out very quickly some of my makeup skills needed some refreshing because I could not draw a wing or apply a lash easily to save my life. So I had to refreshen that. Now I'm using this darker matte pink with a large fluffy brush. This is a Wayne Goss number 16. I wanted to use a natural hair brush to kind of pick up, scratch up the surface of this shade. This is really pretty actually. I'm gonna use a little bit of my RMS Pomegranate Fizz blush with the same brush. I'm gonna wipe that right over the lid. That's so pretty. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of the shimmery pink. I'm gonna pat that right over my lid. A little bit of my Benefit Precisely My Tinted Brow Wax. Quick coat of my Benefit Bad Gal Bang in brown. This is starting to come to at the end of its lifespan with me. As this mascara has aged, it has really, really grown on me. Remove that lip mask and I'm going to use a little bit of my Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil in the shade 1C, and I'm just going to use this to very roughly fill in the perimeter of my lip. And then I have a new shade of the Peripera Ink Mood Glowy Tint. I still have the package. The package has these cute little bunnies. This is number 27 Joking Pink, and it is more of a warm, slightly corally pink. It's so pretty and it's just so great for every day. I use this lip color more than anything else when I was away. I curled and styled my Belle Tress Montecito, which is the wig that I have to say, this was the only one I brought with me to my trip home and she is a champ. This is freshly curled. I do not keep the curls this tight. I use 3 different curling irons. So on the very lower section, I used a 1/2 inch. Here in the middle, I used 3/4 of an inch, and then I used a 1 inch. And now that it's set for a couple hours, I am going to go through, comb it out because I like more of a wave than a curl, but I like using the different sized curling wands and then, curling irons, and then I alternate. So my first 2 from next to the face that will go back, and then from there I will alternate forward, back, forward, back. So that way when you brush it, and then I also like to take my comb, go through at an angle. That way your curls will start mixing, and I keep these little crease-free or dent-free clips in the hair, so that way it will keep them where I want until I'm ready. So I'm gonna keep these in, and then I will take them out right before my meeting starts, because I like right here next to my face to be kind of flat, so that way everything else looks like it has a little bit more volume to it. The very last product I have to share with you today is a fragrance, and this is Burberry's Burberry Her Eau de Toilette. Love this for a long time, but I finally purchased it on the way to Virginia at the Lewiston Duty Free. This was on the 50% off Black Friday table, so I ended up getting this for half off, and I wore this more than any other fragrance while I was home. My mom, my sister-in-law, and my Grammy, we all have very different tastes in fragrances. They all love this, and they were all wanting to order it right then and there. So if you like a nice, clean, fresh floral that's a little fruity, this is beautiful, and it wears surprisingly well for about 3 to 4 hours, which is great for an eau de toilette. That is going to conclude my first video of 2025. Thank you so much for being with me up until this point, and I cannot wait to share all the fun and exciting things to come in this new year. Until we see each other again, I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever it is you are in the world, and I will see you later. Bye, y'all.